Hello everyone, welcome to the Cmallforhappylife channel. Today's video is about weaving two double half hitch knot lace pattern bracelets, which can also be used as bookmarks. If you make them longer, you can use them as chokers. The video also covers how to end the bracelets with 8-strand braids. I will weave a 18 cm length bracelet without buckle. To weave a bracelet with a main body length of 18 cm and a 6 cm 8-strand extension chain, you need 6 pieces of 240 cm long, 0.8 mm flat wax wire. Take a 244 cm waxed thread and clamp it in the middle as the axis. Then take another 240 cm long waxed thread as the winding thread, fold it in the middle, and hang it on the axis by tying a lark's head knot. Use one end of the winding thread to tie 6 lark's head knots on the axis. Then, change the direction and use the other end of the winding thread to tie 6 knots on the axis. Then, pull the axis thread down and clamp it as shown in the video. It is important to note that both ends of the winding thread are facing away from the axis. Now, the 2 threads in the middle are the axis threads. On the left axis thread, add 2 240 cm long winding threads in turn, fold the winding threads in the middle, and hang them on the axis thread with a double half hitch knot. Then, tie a right double half hitch knot using the right end of the winding thread on the axis thread. Then, add threads on the right side in the same way so that all the threads are in place. At this time, ensure that all the winding threads are facing away from the axis thread. Now take the 2 middle threads, using the one on the right as the axis thread and the one on the left as the winding thread, and tie a left double half hitch knot on the axis thread. Now there are 6 threads on the left and right sides. Take the first thread on the left as the axis thread and the remaining 5 threads on the left as the winding threads, and tie a right double half hitch knot on the axis thread in turn. Then, use the first thread on the far right as the axis thread, and the remaining 5 threads on the right and the axis thread on the left as winding threads, and tie a left double half hitch knot on the axis thread in turn. Now we will wave the patterns like these. Divide the threads into 6 groups of 2 threads each, with 3 groups on each side. Sorry, the video I just shot went out of bounds, so I will use a pattern in the middle to demonstrate. We start from the left, using the 6th thread as the axis and the 5th thread as the winding thread, and tie a left double half hitch knot. Using the 4th thread as the axis and the 3rd thread as the winding thread, and tie a left double half hitch knot, then change the axis thread direction and tie a right double half hitch knot. The winding thread and axis thread remain the same. Then use the 5th thread on the left to tie a right double half hitch knot on this axis. Then keep the axis thread, use the 6th thread to tie a right double half hitch knot on the axis thread. Then use the 2nd thread on the left as the axis and the 1st thread as the winding thread. First, tie a left double half hitch knot and then tie 2.5 lark's head knots. Then keep the axis thread, use the 3rd, 4th and 5th thread to tie right double half hitch knots on the axis thread in turn. Same pattern weaving on the right. Then keep the axis thread, use the 6th thread to tie a left double half hitch knot on the axis thread. Using the 5th thread as the axis and the 6th thread as the winding thread, and tie a right double half hitch knot. Use the 7th thread as the axis thread, the 6th thread as the winding thread to tie a left double half hitch knot on the axis thread. Repeat until you get the desired length. The main part of the bracelet is done. Now we need to make an 8-strand braid extension chain with a length of 6 cm to finish it off. Cut the 2 leftmost and rightmost threads and burn the ends with a lighter. Counting from left to right, take the 1st thread on the left as the axis and the 2nd and 3rd threads as the winding threads. tie a right double half hitch knot in turn. Then the 8th thread becomes the axis, and the 7th and 6th threads become the winding threads. Tie them with a left double half hitch knot in turn. Then the 8th thread becomes the axis, and the 7th thread becomes the winding thread. Tie a left double half hitch knot, take the 1st thread on the left as the axis, and the 2nd thread as the winding thread. Tie a right double half hitch knot. The next step is to braid the square 8-strand braid. I won't make a video here. For how to braid the square 8-strand braid, please refer to my video 248 in my channel. The bracelet needs a 6 cm 8-strand braid, so we need to braid an 8 cm 8-strand braid and then end it with winding wire. The end of the winding needs to be about 1.5 cm long 8-strand braid. The trick to winding the end is to be patient. Do not overlap the winding thread and make sure to pull it tight. Finally, cut off the excess thread and burn it with a lighter. All done? Do you want to weave one too? Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share to support me in making more great DIY videos.